Hello, my name is Anthony Hall, and in this tutorial we're going to be looking at how to use the motion modifier Oscillator to animate this fish with some bones, so it's got like it's swimming about with the tail moving and stuff. So I've got this fish here. This is a model I got from TurboSquid. It's free from this user here, as it Yimit RG. So again, I just used the FBX, brought it into Lightwave. I just had to rotate it, and I scaled it up a bit because it came through as 1mm, so it's about 10 centimeters now. So before I take it into layout, I just want to make some weight maps, and so what I'm going to do is make 3 different weight maps, so separating the fish into 3, so I can put bones through it and tell the bones just to control the bits, or shall I say just to assign the bones to certain weight maps, so they'll only use and animate that part. So to do that, make sure you're on points, and what I'm going to do in the top view is I'm going to go around the head area like so, go down to the bottom corner, and there's a little W here. Click on the drop down, click new, and we'll call it fish head, and then create. And what this does, it adds it to your vertex map. So if we have a look here, look, weight, and there it is, and you can right mouse click, rename it and delete it if you want, and copy it. So I've done that. Then what I'm going to do is do, let's say, the body. So deselect that bit, and let's go to about there. So yeah, we're going to use that. So again, W, new, fish body, create, drop the selection, and then lastly, again, we'll do the tail like so. And so we've got 3 different weight maps. So we just need to save it, and let's send it through to layout like so. Now, if just to show you, in Modeler, I made sure it's centered, and because it's got a front and a back, I made sure the fish head's facing the plus Z, as Lightwave recognises that as the front. Okay, so for the time being, let's move that out of the way. Don't want to use that. Let's just move that out of the way as well. Make sure you have we're not bothered about the camera view at the minute. So what I'm doing is just making sure I can see the fish in all the views here to rig it. So what I'm going to do is rig it with some bones, and I can't say I do a lot of rigging at all, but I do when I need to. And so then what I'm going to do is show you how to use the oscillator. So make sure your fish is selected for a start. Then over here, make sure you just set up, go to bones, draw child bone. In your back view, and you don't have to do it this way, but I click and drag into the fish. So what this is, I always do this, and I'm not sure where I picked it up, but it's a controller that controls all the other fish. So if I want to grab it and move everything around, so I don't do anything but use it to drag the whole rig around. So as a starting point, so I've just dragged it into the side of my fish. So next, make sure you're back on your draw child bone again, and let's start by clicking, and let's do a series of bones that I'm just doing in the right view to the front, and then I'm going to come up here to maybe a controller for the mouth. Then I'm going to press spacebar and go back to one of the bones, and then go back to draw child bone again, and then do the bottom one here through the bottom lip, and then press spacebar. So that's my first bones. I'm going to go back to the original controller bone here, and I'm going to go to bones, draw child bones, and this time I'm going to draw some along the back till I get to about here, and I'll draw one coming up here like so. Spacebar, go back to the other one, draw child bone, and draw one here like so. That's it. So now I've got my bone rig how I want it. You can do it a lot more complicated than this, and a lot more, probably do less bones as well, but for this we're just going to stick with this. So let's go back to our main controller bone, bring up the properties for the bones. So for this one, I'm not actually going to do a lot. I'm just going to leave it exactly the same. What I'm going to use is my up and down arrow keys to jump between the next. If you look, I'm using, this is up and down arrow key. I'm just jumping between the next bone. So what I'm going to do now is when I've selected this bone here, look where it says bone weight map, I want this one to be, let's say, body. The next one, again, body. The next one, let's say, head. Head again, so I'm just using my arrow keys. Head again, you could have done a little weight map for just the mouth if you wished, it's up to you. Okay, so let's go back. And this one, let's make this one body. I might change some of these. This one, let's say, let's put it for the tail for the time being, and the rest is all tail bones, or weight to the weight map, shall we say. Like so. Cool, so they're all ready. So next, let's just go back to this view so we can check it. I'm on a bone here. Go to bones, turn on bones, and then the best thing to do is just grab a handle and move the handle, and you can see it's rotating. It's not affecting any of the other bones, only the bones that are assigned to the tail. Same with this one, look. So it kind of stops as that weight map ends here, because you don't want to be rotating this bone and the head's going up and down and all over its shop. So yep, and then if we look at the mouth and stuff, so that, yeah, you can see here, so I'm moving the mouth and it's affecting up this area here, which sometimes it does, I think, with a fish. But I could have made a weight map to again just for the mouth, but again, you hopefully understand what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. So let's go to this tail here now, and what I want it to do is I just want it to kind of go like this, side to side. But the problem is, it's not a problem. You could come down here and animate it by hand, and I want it to be constantly wiggling. So instead of doing it by the timeline, I'm going to go to the setup tab, motion options, and then from my add a modifier, look for oscillator. So we'll double click it. So you can oscillate any of the positions, so that's the movement, so it can go up, down, side to side and so on, or you can rotate it through the head pitch and angle and stuff in the bank. So what I know is that the red circle is the head. So on here, go to the head and click enable. So currently it's a 1 second cycle, and it's going to go from 1 meter to 1 meter. Now based on the size of your grid and everything, let's just check and see how small or large that is. And it's over, you can decide on the start and end frame, and there's the oscillation. So let's just press play. So you can see it moving, it's very small. So let's jump back in. Let's tell it to be something silly. Well, let's just put 15 meters in and just see. Let's rewind it and press play. So looking in the top view here, kind of see, I mean, I'm looking at it, and the problem is this bone here isn't really in the center of where I want it to be. So I'm just going to delete that for the time being. And while I'm on this bone, I want it to come across a little bit. So I'm just going to select this bone here, turn off the bones. So make sure the bones are off. Let's select this bone, and then from setup, let's go down to move tip. And this will move the tip of the bone, but all its hierarchy as well. And then you press spacebar to say you're happy. So I'm just going to jump to the next one. So I'm literally using the tip of the bone to move it into the center better. And if we go back and just have a look, roughly round and so forth, it's a bit better. But I've probably moved my whole daddy bone in too far, but it's fine. So anyway, back to what we were doing. So let's turn the bones back on. Let's start with this one. Let's go to setup, motion options, oscillator, double click. We're going to oscillate the head enable, and let's put in 15 meters over a 1 second period, over 0 to, so it's 4 seconds basically. And then let's have a look in the top view here. Yeah, that's not bad. I think what I might do is come through and oscillate another bone further on so that the tail's got more of a turn on it as well. So let's have a look at that. So rewind it. So let's say the next one across, let's add oscillate to that. I mean, like most things with any 3D package, using head again, it's just experiment. So let's tell this one to be less. So let's say 10. Let's just see what it does. Not bad. I mean, it could be a lot faster as well if you want. And if you want the other body, the rest of the body, you could go right back to the first bit here, which I believe, if we go back to the properties, is in the body. So you have to be careful when you're using this one, because these here are part of it as well. So let me just see what happens when we do that. So let's oscillate through the head. Just let's put something smaller, 5. Rewind. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's so small, but actually I like the little tiny bit of movement here. So yeah, I mean, that's as simple as it can be, really. I mean, I haven't had to animate all the bones individually and stuff. And now what you can do is you can actually grab the fish itself, or the parent bone, like I said, and move it about. So if you remember the actual, you can do it by the fish, or you can actually do it by the bone, because the controller bone. But you can now do a little animation of the fish, why it's got that little 4 second oscillator animation on it. Also, it's give you a little kind of insight into basic rigging and stuff. I've rigged characters and put the IK on it and stuff, and it's a lot more complicated. But yeah, for basic stuff like this, animating a little fish with the tail going, it's as simple as that. I mean, you could come in here with this one and make it rotate further, a longer rotation if you want, or a quicker rotation. You would simply come into here, reduce the cycle, so you could say 0.5 and 20, and see what that does. Yes, it's got a bit of a weird kink move now. Look down here in your top view, based on the settings I've just put in here and stuff. So let's change it back to roughly around there. Okay, so yeah, that's it. That's how you use the oscillator. I mean, you could use it for a lot more stuff, but I just wanted to show you how you could do it this way, by using a little basic introduction to basic, adding a few bones to a little kind of fish and so on. So again, thanks for listening. Look out for my next tutorial. Please share, subscribe, and check out my Lightwave Salvation Facebook channel. Thanks for listening. See you next time.